Safety signs and color coding. Unit outcomes. By the end of this unit, you should be able to identify safety signs, identify color coding as applied at sites of work, in factories, and in workshops. An overview. Color coding and safety signs are used for identification and as guidelines for activities in the workplace. Everyone should learn color coding and safety signs to promote safety in the working environment. Color coding charts and safety signs should be displayed at appropriate and easily visible locations in the workplace. Safety signs. A symbolic safety sign usually consists of a geometric shape, a color, and a pictogram or a picture. There are 5 different safety sign categories. There are warning signs, prohibitory signs, compulsory signs, informative signs, and general signs. Warning signs. Warning signs are triangular in shape. They also tend to have a black border and a black picture with a yellow background. Examples are warning signs against live electrical conductors, poisonous substances, and inflammable substances. Inflammable substances means that it burns easily or it's likely to burn. So this is an example of warning signs against inflammable substances. So here you can see it has a black border, it has a black picture, and the background is yellow. So that's a warning sign. Number 2 is the prohibitory signs. Prohibitory signs are circular in shape. They have a red border and red diagonal line with a black picture on a white background. They also tend to have a black border and a black picture in a yellow background. Examples of prohibitory signs are signs that warn against smoking, dumping, fires, and open flames. The exception in prohibitory signs is the no entry sign, which has a white picture on a red background. So these are examples of prohibitory signs. They have a red border and they have that red diagonal line. So it's a black picture on a white background. So normally most of them you will find them like this. They will have that red border and that diagonal red line. The picture will be black on a white background. So the only exception is the no entry sign because it's black, it's red with it's a white line on a red background. Compulsory signs. Compulsory signs are circular in shape and generally feature white pictures against a blue background. Examples are telling workers to use eye, hand, and foot protection. So you'll find this mostly in the workshop where we tell you which PPE you should wear when working on the materials. Informative signs. Informative signs provide information such as the location of firefighting equipment. They are square in shape and usually have a thin red border with a picture on a white background. Examples are signs pointing out the locations of fire extinguishers, fire hoses, or fire hydrants. So this is a picture of an informative sign. General signs. General signs are usually square in shape and feature a white picture on a green background. Examples are signs that indicate exits, the location of first aid equipment, and general directions. So general pictures are square in shape. They have a white picture on a green background. Safety coding. Safety codes are used for rapid and easily identification and understanding safety features in the workplace. Color coding should be same throughout the workplace and must be adhered to established SABS codes, which is the South African Bureau of Standards. Color codes boards should be displayed at different highly visible locations in the workplace. SABA codes, which is the South African Bureau of Standards, is responsible for the development and publication of safety standards or codes for products and services. For example, when dealing with pipelines, there are color codings for the different types of material that each pipeline is carrying. So if your pipeline is carrying air, the color code used for that is Arctic Blue. If it's carrying acids, then you must use Jacaranda. If you're using alkalis, then they are dark gray. Firefighting substances, it's signal red. If your pipeline is carrying gases other than air, then it must be light stone. If it's carrying oils, then it's golden brown. If it's carrying steam, then it's pastel gray. If it's water, then it's brilliant green. The following color coding can be used in the workplace. Yellow lines can be used to mark walkways, working areas, and storage spaces. Floor spaces for working can be painted gray. Stacking spaces can be painted blue. Walkways can be painted brown. Keep clear zones and can be painted green. Keep clear zones can be painted green. Yellow circles can mark spaces intended for refuse bins, entrances, and obstructions. And low bins can be painted yellow with black. Dangers of electricity. Unit outcomes. By the end of this unit, you should be able to list and describe the type of injuries associated with electricity. Dangers of electricity. Electricity travels along conductors in the form of waves. However, the human body may also conduct electricity. A person can become the easiest path for electricity to reach the ground, and in this case may become part of the electrical circuit. The result is the person could be shocked, burned, or killed as a result of electrocution. Always take heed of danger signs. So always follow the danger signs that are placed in the workplace. You should never work on exposed live conductor if at all possible. If this is not possible, then you must ensure that you have insulated gloves, tools, and all the necessary skills and knowledge to perform such task. So this is what kind of a sign is listed here in figure 1.7. Go back to safety signs and check what type of sign is this one. Types of injuries associated with electricity. There are four main types of electrical injuries: electrocution, electrical shock, burns, and falls. Injuries are usually less severe when the electrical current bypasses nerve centers and vital organs. The electrical current that flows through the body from limb to limb usually passes through the heart and lungs, causing serious injury and possibly death. High voltage currents tend to pass over the body surface, causing burns and flesh injuries. The types of injuries that are associated with electricity. So if you can check on this table here, if you have currents that are less than 30, that's the safe zone. You can find that from the lowest one, you find the first sensation is noticeable, the palm starts to tingle, then we have cramping that's starting, then the head stiffen. But once it's more than 30, then that's where it's on the danger zone that can lead to injury or loss of life. The physical effects from electrical shock most likely to cause death or serious injury are distractions of nerves, muscles, or tissues, hemorrhage in the brain or other vital organs, paralysis of the nerves, usually temporary, which causes an inability to breathe, and reluctant asphyxiation, heart failure, burns, and falls due to cramping and loss of muscle control. Hemorrhage is the building inside the body when a blood vessel bursts. Asphyxiation is when the body is deprived of oxygen, causing unconsciousness or death. Of electrical accidents. Some common causes of electrical accidents are inattention and carelessness, inadequate power line clearance, poor housekeeping, taking chances, overloading of electrical circuits, bypassing or ignoring safety procedures, working under the influence of alcohol. Electrical safeguards. There are several safeguards typically used to reduce the possibility of electrical accidents, including the use of circuit breakers, direct earthing, isolating transformers, double insulated appliances, earth leakage circuit breakers. So the picture shows an earth leakage circuit breaker. The international symbol for double insulation is a square within a square. See the figure below for example. An appliance labeled with this symbol has additional insulation between any exposed metal parts. The usual insulation of the current carrying parts is therefore also insulated, hence the term double insulation. Safety precautions when working with or near electricity. The following safety precautions when working with or near electricity: do not use power tools with defective cords. Use only cords or equipment that is rated for the level of amperage and wattage that you are using. Always use wooden ladders or other non-conductive materials such as fiberglass when working with or near electricity or power lines. So never use a metal ladder. The risk of electrical shock is even greater in areas that are wet or damp. Know where the distribution board is in case of emergency so that you can easily cut off the power. Distribution board, or a DB, is a panel with circuit breakers that allows you to control the different circuits, so you can switch on and off. All circuit breakers should be labeled so that you can easily identify which circuit they protect. So on the DB board, you will have labels. They will tell you this is the main switch, this is for plugs, this one is for lights. Lock out the isolator in the off position and place a tag on it to inform other workers when you are working on the equipment. Do not use outlets or cords that have exposed wiring. Do not block access to circuit breaker so that people can have easily access to switch on and off. Do not touch a personal electrical apparatus in the event of electrical accident. Always disconnect the current first and then attend to the accident. So whenever someone is in danger, always switch off the power, then we can attend to the person. Do not touch the person first, always switch off the power. Personal protective equipment, PPE. Personal protective equipment is not always the best safeguard against particular hazards. It is better to remove or minimize the danger by other means. If this fails, PPE is the last line of defense. It is important that the correct type of PPE be chosen for a particular hazard, e.g., a dust respirator is not suitable for protection against noxious fumes. It is very important that you know which PPE is correct for a particular hazard and the correct way of wearing that PPE. The rules and instructions regarding the wearing of PPE must be strictly obeyed. It is for your safety. Some hazards like noise can take a long time before the effects become noticeable, but it can lead to permanent disabilities. So you can be working in an area with a lot of noise and it doesn't affect you, but in the long run, after a few months or a few years, now you find that you can't hear because you didn't use your tools, your PPE that was provided to you against excessive noise. Hand protection. Leather gloves must be worn when working with hot or sharp objects or when handling heavy materials. Rubber gloves must be worn when working with dangerous liquids such as acids, poisons, etc. They are non-insulated gloves. The insulated gloves or special rubber are worn when working on live conductors, that is, when it is not possible to switch off the power, e.g. when working on live overhead lines. When you can't switch them off, then you wear these insulated gloves. Great care must be taken care when to ensure that they are of they are of the correct voltage rating, clean and dry and in perfect condition. So you can wear these insulated gloves, but if you are working on a higher voltage level, then it will not be able to protect you. So you always check what is the maximum voltage level for these gloves that I'm using. Protection. Safety shoes and boots with special caps where appropriate must be worn to protect the feet and metatarsal bones or any bones in the feet. Eye and face protections. Safety goggles must be worn when grinding, chiseling, drilling, chasing, or using any material that may cause particles to fly and endanger the eyes, e.g. when turning or milling. Darkened safety goggles must be worn when using oxyacetylene equipment. A welding helmet or shield must be worn when working with arc welder or when using an arc welder. A face shield should be worn when working with dangerous liquids such as acids. Hearing protection. Hearing protection is in the form of earplugs or ear muffs must be worn when noise of 85 decibels and louder occur in the workplace. Noise-induced deafness is a serious problem that often only manifests after a long time. Protection is required against two types of noise. Continuous loud noise such as cutting, grinding, etc. may occur in plants and factories. Intermittent very loud noise such as blasting, shooting, hard banging such as banging as a plate workshop. Head protection. Hard hats must be worn at all times, factories and plants, and on building sites or any other areas where there is a danger of falling objects or materials. Caps or helmets to be worn by people with long hair working with moving machines such as grinders or pedestal greens. Protective clothing, where necessary, an appropriate suitable overall should be worn within the workplace. Rubber aprons are used when working with dangerous liquids such as acids and other chemicals. Leather aprons must be worn when working with hot objects and when welding or cutting with gas torch. Spats and leggings are used to protect the legs. Safety belts or harnesses. Safety belts or harnesses must be worn when working in high place such as on roofs or poles and on overhead lines. When working on overhead lines, the safety belt or harness must be fastened to the pole and not over the cross arm in order to facilitate the removal of a person injured by electrical shock or in the event of electrocution. Protection against inhalation of hazardous substances. Dust masks and mechanical filter respirators are used to filter out dust and should be worn when working with dust-laden atmospheres or where dust is created during grinding, chasing, or etc. These are not suitable for gases and fumes, so chemical cartridge gas must be used when working with substances giving noxious gases and fumes. A rescue pack, which is a form of canister respirator, is a compulsory item to be either carried by every person going underground or to be immediately available to every person working underground in a ferry mine.